Okay, and welcome to this week's marketing jam. This week we're talking about sales promotion and does it work and is it worth the effort? As usual, I have a panel of experts with me, including Jonathan and Catherine as usual, and this week we also have a special guest, Simon Cox. Hi, Simon. Catherine, welcome back.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Now, you run CB Graphics in Watford. You must get tons of requests for sales promotion type efforts.
Yeah,
Items.
there's a whole range of things which I know we're going to cover in a bit more detail a little bit later on. But yeah, we're talking about various different forms of sales promotion, in particular perhaps merchandising, yeah, there's anything from a pen to a beautiful banner that are relatively cost effective. They're great for small businesses to add a bit of promotion to what they do. Yeah, this is what I do. I'm in graphics and print. I've been doing this for about 30 odd years. I don't know, that number varies depending on how far I can think back on any week. But yeah, look forward to discussing this.
Okay, that's great. And Jonathan, now you've told me one or two tales in the discussions leading up to the show about various people in the past and sales promotion and whether or not it works. Look forward to hearing from you a bit later. Okay.
Okay, I've just lost all sound. Oh, you come back.
Right. Okay, great. I was just saying you were talking.
Right. Do you want a quick?
Please.
A quick intro?
A quick intro, please.
So, my name is Jonathan Darby, and I've worked for all the major marketing services groups. So, Havas is, I think, about the only one I haven't worked for, but Publicis, Omnicom, WPP, and at a fairly high level on global strategy and communication strategy, and as a media director and senior positions to that, for either blue chip, UK, European or global brands. But they all use sales promotion, so yes, I think I can chip in with the occasional bit of advice. Anyway, I'll hand back to Diane because I can't hear anything from that end at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully I'll have better luck with Simon. Hi, Simon. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on today.
Okay, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your background and your efforts in sales and brand promotion.
Yeah, my background has actually been in management accounting actually for years, and then back in 2008 I found myself in the embroidery and print industry as a general manager for an embroidery company, and then we launched our own business in 2009 providing branded clothing, so embroidery and print on clothing. And then in June 2014 sort of widened the or spread the wings a little bit further into sort of the marketing solutions, which I look at as really sort of the tangible side of marketing with branded products. So I've been in the industry since 2008, so it's coming up for 8 years this year.
Okay, well, happy 8th anniversary. This topic came about as a subject, following on from last week's topic, where we talked about printed items and paper and everything and how they work and don't work. I mean, I'm not sure that sales promotion is as powerful as people say it is, but yeah, that's my own personal view. Jonathan?
I think, in fairness, I don't have any quibbles with sales promotion working. I mean, it's a very powerful tool. I think that sometimes it's not used for the right reasons. And you should always sort of bear in mind when you're dealing with sales promotion that it has got to be constructive and supportive in your overall marketing plan, rather than, wow, that's a nice idea, and going on completely effectively counter to the brand and the message that you're trying to put over. And that would be my sort of cautionary note on it. But you know, even the sales promotion ideas that were almost barking mad usually could be demonstrated to have had a positive effect on the sales of the brand, whether it was cost efficient versus additional above the line advertising or not was another matter. I mean, things like branded clothing is great because it's getting other people to walk around with your message on them. And as long as that message is relevant, that's fine. The only problem is you don't have control over when it's going to be seen, or so it's you can get 1,000 shirts, and someone could end up wearing one of them at a party or a gig or something like that 10 years later, when actually your brand's completely changed its remit. So it's out of your control. On the other hand, what I love about sales promotion is it's scalable. It can go from one banner up to the McDonald's Monopoly game, which they're running at the moment, which essentially is a sales promotion. So you can choose how and when and how you do it.
Okay, that's great. Simon, as we found out earlier, you've been advising companies an awful lot on stuff. Johnson's hit on clothing, so let's start with that particular item. A good idea to stick sales promotion messages and brand corporate clothing or not?
Well, of course I can actually say yes, because I supply it, but on a serious note, it depends, as Jonathan just said, it's about the message that's going out there. And he's quite right. People, you can buy branded clothing, give it out to people. Next thing you know, they could commit an offence, and it's caught on CCTV, and it's obviously got the logo on there. There's also, things change and everything. So, is it relevant? Is it up to date? That's what you've got to look at on the negative side. Positive side, we've supplied painters and decorators. We've supplied an electrician who's had their website printed on the back. They've been seen in Sainsbury's. Somebody's seen it and got in contact with them because obviously they've asked when the inquiry came through, how did you find out about me? And they said, we saw it on your fleece. So there are the positives and negatives to it, as Jonathan said there. Where I think people make mistakes of it is when they probably go a little bit overboard with what they're trying to say with their clothing. People don't often realise that with the clothing that it's normally the first thing you'll see, even before you see a business card or a mobile phone number. If you're meeting someone for the first time, you'll see the logo on the clothing. So why people go to the extent of having like the phone number put on the front of the clothing, I wouldn't really sort of want to. I always advise people, don't put your phone number on the front. If you want to do it, put it on the back, because obviously you don't really sort of go up to someone's chest to write down a phone number. So I think it depends on the message you're actually portraying as to, is it going to work? Is it going to work for you or not?
Yeah, okay. We've temporarily lost Jonathan. Obviously, the sound issues have kind of taken over. Catherine, you get, like me, you must have been asked to design, stick the logo on the pen, stick the logo on this, stick the logo on that. It's not always easy, is it, to convince clients that it's necessarily the right thing, or indeed the right media to do, because each of these items needs to be considered on its own within the whole package.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And this is one of these cases where very often less is more. Particularly when Simon was saying about, do you want phone numbers on people's chests? Well, actually, it's not that flattering to have somebody looking at your chest, instead of your face, but also for ladies, not that flattering. But yes, absolutely, just a simple logo. In this day and age, 9 times out of 10, somebody sees a logo or they're associated with a brand of some sort, they go and look it up online. Doesn't matter whether you've got the the website particularly, or the phone number or anything. People can look it up online. Things are easy to find these days if it's what you're interested in. But yeah, certainly with pens, I've had the classic. Oh, we'd like the logo, we'd like the phone number, we'd like the website. And okay, but I don't think anybody's going to read 3-point type. Is this really what you want? The same goes for anything really. Flyers, banners, things like this. You don't want to overload things. The more things that are on there, the more confusing it can be to people trying to read them, trying to digest what it is that you're actually trying to say. More times, 9 times out of 10, what you're trying to do is point somebody towards a website. There is where you explain fully what you do. You have explanations of who you are, what you do, what you're selling, and opportunities to engage more. Then all you're doing really with a branded pen, a wristband, a flyer, a banner, a hat, a T-shirt, you're introducing somebody to something, or you're promoting what people already know. So it sticks to the mind a little bit more. But I was going to say, with some of the promotion items that I've had to deal with over the time, not just with the business, but also with the charity that I helped with, we did a little promotion with some wristbands once. And we obviously researched adult-sized wristbands for the particular event that we were doing. We did another event where actually those would have been completely unsuitable because they were too big, because what we were doing was in a school. So we actually then researched some glow-in-the-dark, smaller wristbands, and the kids absolutely loved them. But so you have to be a little bit sort of targeted to what the event is, make it relevant, and make it appealing.
Yeah, and relevant. Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Catherine's point about relevance is probably the most important thing, isn't it? Because I think people can get carried away with thinking, oh, it's great, I'm putting 100 pens out there and my name's getting out there. But if that's not what people are using, because they're, say, all wedded to their keyboards, then it's not actually doing anything.
Yeah. I think it's important that when you do it, it is relevant to the message that you're trying to get across at the time. So look out for ideas. Pens are sort of one of those things you can keep in the cupboard along with T-shirts and mouse mats and a few things. So every time you get a new client or something like that, you send them a little package of items that are sales promotion. The wristbands and things like that, think about it in terms of the event. T-shirts are brilliant for events because they sort of add to the overall thing. So think about it in terms of that. I did some work with a company called Tomato Plant. It was mentioned that every now and then you get a client who wants to get their logo, their company name, their email, their web address and their phone number onto one pen. There you go, it is possible. It looks a mess, but that's what the client wanted. But for them, one of the funniest ones we did was the squeezable tomato ketchup bottles, which we handed out to lots of people who were contractors who would make use of us, but also we put them into the lorry drivers' cafes and things like that, so that it had a sort of relevance and people would get the name round as quickly as possible. But you do have to think about what you're doing and use it in conjunction with everything else that you're doing within your marketing. Don't just sort of go, wow, at the moment it's a drone, but then sort of go, oh, actually, because we're selling a piece of technology, a USB stick, really useful, or something else that you can make merchandisable in exactly the same way. And you just have to sort of think about it in terms of the relevance of your brand to your customer's life, and think, what can I justifiably do to enhance that experience, which gives the credible link.
Yeah. So, Simon, how do you go? Sorry, there's a slight delay in the line. I missed that last piece, Jonathan. Okay. Simon, when you're advising clients about which piece of sales promotion or brand promotion item to use, how do you go about it?
Normally what I'll do is I'll sit with the client for about half an hour to understand what their brand's about, what the business is, but ultimately, who are they trying to reach and what their expectations are from a branded product. The way I see it is we're talking about sales promotion items here. They're not sales promotion items in my view. They are items that are a reminder of a brand. So we go to a hotel, we pick up a pen, or we pick up whatever giveaway the hotels are giving away. I'm talking about the larger corporates here. It's a reminder of a stay in the hotel at the end of the day, but it has got some text on there. It's got a bit of advertising, but it's just a gentle reminder. So what I normally look at with a new client when I take them on is to understand who they're trying to reach, what the market is, like we were just saying, is it relevant to what they want to achieve, But also, I say to them, think long term. You don't need to spend, and don't spend, loads of money on 1,000 pens if they're going to be sitting collecting dust for the next 6 months. There's just no point. So I look at how we can sort of make the investment that they're going to be putting into those promotional products last a while, make them aware of it as well, to say that if you are going to buy 1,000 pens, then obviously, chances are you could be left with them. Make sure also you're going to be in an area where if somebody's exhibiting at an exhibition, for instance, and they go and buy 1,000 pens, does everybody want a pen on the day that's going to be at your stand? Because if you're at an exhibition that's that size, then the chances are somebody else is also doing it, and the poor delegates that go to an exhibition are going to end up walking out with a load of pens, which is great for the industry, don't get me wrong, but it's not good for obviously being the standout company that can be seen from obviously promoting their brand through the pen.
Yeah. Catherine, when was the last time you bought a biro?
Good question. I don't know, years ago. I have so many branded pens kicking around. People give me or left over from orders and things. But yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about the relevance, the quality of what you're actually thinking of producing as well. Again, with the charity that I was working with, we were doing a promotion. It was Awareness Day in Watford Town Centre. We wanted to give people something. We wanted to engage with them. And that's easy to do over a gift. You're sort of handing over a gift. You hang on to it for a moment whilst you're actually talking to people, and then they listen before they walk away. And we produced these goodie bags. So they had flyers in. I think they had a pen in, but they also had some stickers, a badge, and something else. So there was actually something there for the kids as well. It's a bit like when you go and give blood, and there's stickers for everyone. You want someone to come away with what you're doing. But yeah, it was something to think about, and we sort of thought, so goodie bags, because we wanted to try and keep within the ethos of what we were doing, and that sort of meant being friendly to the environment as well. So you start thinking about, well, not plastic bags, then let's look at cotton bags. So it's important really when you've got a customer that's trying to put across a certain message and keep within a certain ethos, offer them the right product, a good quality product can speak 1,000 words. Unfortunately, you get some of these promotional items, that sort of either land on your door in an envelope that have come from perhaps a charity trying to promote itself, excuse me, and some of them can be really quite poor quality. And you end up thinking, that's not the pen I'm going to keep, or this is a really flabby little bit of keyring. Why would I want to use this? Why would I want to showcase this to anybody else? So we've got to think about the quality of what you're actually producing and handing out to people as well, because that speaks volumes about your brand.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, the point about quality and making sure it fits with your brand values, and that a good quality item is likely to have a much better effect than a negative one. This kind of cost-quality conundrum, like everything else in marketing and brand promotion, is a never-ending question, isn't it?
Have we lost him?
Hello, Jonathan? Jonathan? We appear to have lost Jonathan, unfortunately. Oh, I'll put that one to you then, Simon.
So what was the question? I was waiting for Jonathan to answer.
Go on, run through it again, Diane.
Okay. What I was saying is the question about quality and cost and how they reflect on your brand is quite important, and it's not a case of just doing the most expensive or indeed the cheapest. So if we're just going to talk about pens, I've seen everything from Parker Duofoils given away as sales promos where it's on the case and everything, to cheap 2p biros. It's a question of finding the right thing that's going to reflect the values and the qualities that you wish to communicate with your brand, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jonathan back with us. Yeah. As I was saying, I've got a job on at the moment for a racing track who they are holding an event next weekend. I know the kind of clients that they've got, racing at the event. They've asked me for some branded products. We're actually looking at an engraved product rather than a printed product because we think that their client would actually appreciate that more than just a plastic pen. It's actually going to be a pen that's engraved, You mentioned Parker. That's obviously the brand that we're going to be putting in there for the Parker pen. We're doing a little leather key ring with the logo engraved in it rather than actually physically printed into it, because we just feel that their clients are spending a lot of money with them. They want to give something back, which is of good value, and not just of just anything that we can just pick up, flick through the supply chain, see what it is, and basically offer them a plastic pen when we can offer them a boxed engraved pen instead. So thinking about the client, but also thinking about their client, if they are going to be looking to give something away, who are their client? It's another question I normally ask: who do you want to reach out to? Because if you find out you're reaching out to just an average, and I don't mean to be disrespectful here, but just an average size business, then it needs to be tailored in a way that the product is going to be of value to someone that's going to help their client as well, that's obviously spending money with them.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the need for it to be appropriate to what you're trying to promote or trying to is quite important, isn't it, Jonathan? I know, in discussions we've had on this topic, you've given me 1 or 2 examples, and I'm not saying you have to repeat those on air, but getting that mix with the right, not only of quite quality, but the right products that fit your brand and service is quite important, isn't it?
Yes, I mean the promotional item can be there just to reinforce brand recognition, but it can also be there to support the overall message. But yes, you're absolutely right. There have been occasions where clients have got rather carried away with the sales promotion aspect and forgotten that actually what they're trying to sell is not the promotional item, but their product. And that's where you've got to be, as the marketeer, as the person responsible for the brand, you've got to always remember that what you're doing is contributing to the overall perception of your brand. And there are things, sort of going back to the example of the pen. If you're dealing with, I don't know, senior bankers or advertising, marketing people and things like that, and you give them a reasonable quality pen, remember they're probably still going to just sling it into the drawer because, for their image, they've already got their Mont Blanc pens, which cost £200 or £300 a shop, and they wouldn't be seen dead carrying around a tomato plant pen, and good luck to them. So just remember from that point of view. Equally, from the point of view of these people go in and visit their bank every day or every week or whatever, they probably have 400 Barclays Barrows sitting in their desk drawer as we speak. So some people won't need it. So just, the comment goes back to know who your actual audience is before you start doing the sales promotion idea. Make sure it is supportive of the messages that you're trying to put over. Make sure it is of sufficient quality that it will fulfill that function and make people go, actually, this isn't a bad business. If you're selling expensive motor cars at a very high end, then make sure that all the supporting material looks high end. If you're doing, bangers down at the local auction, then really it doesn't matter. It can be as cheap as chips, but as long as it's commensurate with what you're trying to do. So, but ideally, try and make it look reasonable quality, probably slightly aspirational above where you think your audience might be. Anyway.
Good advice. Can I chip in there? You mentioned bangers, and that made me think about food, and that made me think about all the food festivals that we go to. And at food festivals, you see any number of people giving away various things. One of the most popular ones that we've ever seen was a drinks manufacturer. I can't remember which one. It was something cocktaily that was actually giving away free sunglasses with every bottle of drink that people bought. They had a queue half a mile long just because people wanted these really funky looking sunglasses. I think we came away with 3 of them, but anyway, that's because we had our daughters with us. But it was a promotion that really seemed to work. It was a lovely sunny day. Okay, that might be a bit of a gamble with the weather, but if you're selling sunny cocktails with palm trees and pineapples and little umbrellas and things, actually a little pair of sunglasses went down an absolute storm. So yeah, it's a matter of fitting your promotion with what you're trying to sell. It made us remember it. Only I've forgotten the name of the drink.
And certainly from that aspect, sorry to jump in there as well, from what you just mentioned there, Catherine, obviously it was a nice sunny day, they're going to be used straight away. So the brand is on site, obviously offering their products, wanting to sell their products or raise awareness of their brand to the market that's there, or potential market, should we say. And then they've got all these people that are coming for a very useful product on the day that are now wearing the sunglasses everywhere. So people are saying, well, where'd you get them? Oh, we get that stall. What's the stall all about? Also, it gets people asking the questions. We've got a very similar situation with an international walking festival. You know, a couple of years ago, we were asked to look at some branded umbrellas, obviously, in case it rained, but also branded pedometers, obviously for that reason as well, because it's all walking related, and people all of a sudden this health kick that we're all supposed to be on as a nation, and fighting obesity and everything. Then obviously there's an opportunity there of looking at pedometer, which is branded, which is obviously unique to the event as well. So. And also it creates that connection that we were talking about earlier. So yeah, I think it's fantastic when it happens.
Absolutely, you're buying into the mood and the spirit of what's going on, and people are already half sold on that idea because they've turned up in the first place. Absolutely, capitalise on it.
So your advice, Simon, is umbrellas for cricket matches, is it?
Oh, absolutely right. Oh, absolutely, and beer glasses.
Okay. I mean, some people, if you were, say a plumber or something like that, and a small one-man, two-man type organisation, what, in your experience, have you found to be the most effective way of doing sales promotion with them, or brand promotion?
Who's that to, Diane? Because it's
That's to you. Sorry, Jonathan's dropped out again.
Okay, I've actually got a client of mine in Aberdeen. He is a plumber. He said, look, I want something to be remembered by. What can I do? So we come up with the idea of a branded radiator key, which is a very useful product. He could go it on to his client, fix the radiators in or service the boiler or whatever, but then he could leave them a radiator key, which has got his telephone number on, which is useful for the client as well, because obviously they can bleed their own radiators. He would give them training on how to do it. So all of a sudden, he's been seen to be a really good, a good guy here. He's got a branded radiator key, left with his client, who can bleed the radiator, and if they want to know his details in future, they may lose his business card. I can't remember who they paid, if you know what I mean, but at the end of the day, they've still got this radiator key. So from a plumber point of view, we've actually done that for a client up in Aberdeen. I think he had about 250 of them, and hopefully I'll get a repeat order in about a year's time when he's got rid of them all.
Catherine.
Yeah. No, I was going to say there's a mug company. I won't mention them because there's other mug companies around. But so once upon a time they sent me one of their branded mugs with instructions on how to call them, obviously as well. And I still have it. I'm still using it 10 years later. And it's something that if ever I forget, who was that mug company? Oh, I know. I've got the mug. Branded items do work. They're a visual reminder. The tweet that we sent out earlier, on the marketing gem, obviously has the link for growth stuff on it. That's a nice little brand that we're promoting everywhere as well. It does help. It's a visual reminder, and it does make you think. Even if you can't remember quite what it was, well, I've got this. I know I had it at the time. Let's go look it up, and bang, you're on the website again.
Okay, Jonathan, what have you found to work most successfully for SMEs?
Well, in the old days, things like mouse mats were brilliant, but of course the relevance of that is reducing as more and more people, do things off mobile platforms. But sort of understand who the people are that you're talking to. Some people are tied to a desk and will have the need to use a mouse, and by all means, it is still relevant. It's things like the viral screensavers were fantastic. I think the original viral screensaver by Guinness, which seemed to go from no one had ever seen a screensaver to everyone having the Guinness screensaver in about a week, was an absolute coup. Okay, it's now sort of like, oh well, yes, everyone does that. So in some senses, you have to sort of think about, how can I get there first? And and do things that no one else has sort of thought of. But as I said before, this scalability of sales promotion, it can be something that is just done on the one-to-one. It can be something that's localized to an exhibition or a shop opening or an event on a one-off basis. But to remember that the current promotion at McDonald's running throughout the UK and is a multi-million-pound thing is a sales promotion. It isn't really directly about selling McDonald's or quality or environmentally friendly or, despite what everyone says, we're desperately trying to be good for you. It is about getting more people to come into their retail outlets and buy more expensive food items so that they can all play in a game where the prizes are paid for by other people anyway. But it is a sales promotion. So just think about it from that point of view. It is highly scalable. And depending on what you want to communicate, I still think that sales promotion is fantastically visible and should be very successful. One of my favourites a long time ago was a friend of mine had a company called Scorpion Logic. It was before the days of internet as we know it, but it was a company that designed and built router boxes, and they had an exhibition at the NEC and have managed to get themselves a stand between it was Microsoft on one side and I think it was Lotus, so it shows how long ago it was, on the other side. Anyway, they managed to get this, secure this. It was a relatively small stand but expensive because it was an exhibition at the NEC. They wanted to get more people on their stand. They had a couple of thousand soft toy scorpions made, and they got basically a group of schoolgirls to walk around the exhibition stands handing these out to people. Eventually they got lots and lots of people coming to their stand. Within 3 months the guys who owned the business had sold business for many millions of dollars to an American communications company, who then sold out to Nortel, and each of the partners ended up with the best part of £50 million in the bank, and are happily retired effectively from the business. That, I would say, was a very successful sales promotion on their part, and we've never heard of Scorpion Logic since.
No. Well, at the risk of incurring Jonathan's wrath, shall we say, when I was at the NEC the other week, Nikon had a stand right in the front corner, and they were handing out these bags. So everyone, of course, grabbed one, and then they were putting everything in, all the other leaflets they got, straight into that. And that was the case for using their position in the show to the best advantage, in that everyone grabbed one of these bags, they were handing them out like they were confetti, and everyone suddenly, it was everywhere you looked around this photographic show, everyone had these bags, and they were putting all the leaflets from Fuji and Canon and Sony cameras and so on and so forth, and a whole lot of other people, Leica and the like, putting all of the leaflets they collected in those bags. And that bag I've used since that event to one or two other things. It's a really nice, light, but handy bag to have, and it's strong enough to take a reasonable amount of weight. So I think that's a piece for me that worked really well, because it fitted in with that context that we've been talking about. It fitted in with the right kind of ethos. And the other thing is, for Nikon, because they managed to get the right place, it also meant that people weren't looking at other people's sales promotional items because they were put in the bag. So for me, that's something that worked really well. But
yes, what better commendation for Nikon to have somebody else's stuff hidden away inside their logo. Brilliant.
Exactly.
And you do see a lot of bags around these days. We've just done some university student days with our daughter, and even the universities are giving away cotton bags now, goodie bags with information in. You know, they want you to carry that around wherever you go. Even visiting another university, I'm sure they wouldn't be too upset if you took their bag with them. And it even got to the point, the final one we went to visit, we were looking around for the bag stand. They had no bags. I couldn't believe it. But everybody does bags now, and they're easy to tuck in your own bag. You get it out again. Yeah, it's a lasting one.
Well, the thing with the bags as well is that obviously these days with the supermarkets, they cost you 5p to put your shopping in a bag. With a bag now, if companies are going to give them away, people keep hold of them for that reason, so they can go and do their weekly shopping with the bag without having to buy a new carrier bag. So, and obviously they're a lot more durable than a carrier bag. So yeah, I think you'll find the increase has been for that as well. So yeah,
absolutely, and they're eco-friendly, of course. You know, most of them are cotton, linen based bags now. They're good for us. And I was going to say one thing, Jonathan, you were saying about mouse mats going in, but actually mobile phone covers are still very much you know, something that I see around. People want their logo or something branded on a mobile phone cover. So things move with the times.
Yes.
So.
Jonathan, you were holding something up. Do you want to say something?
Here you go. 3 years old from the Gadget Show. 3 years old from the Gadget Show. The Telegraph sponsored cotton bag. Perfectly sensible idea. I still don't buy the Telegraph, but there you go. Because the FT writes all the stuff better anyway.
Not promoting Windows either, but there you go.
You know, again, you're right. It's sales promotion. Although it's very passive, you are right that it gets seen. And you know, fair enough. It wasn't a Canon bag, but then Canon probably were at the European electronics show, and at the Californian and the Las Vegas ones and things like that. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Canon are still trying to catch up from 10 years ago, and they'll do everything they can. Sorry, Nikon, that's the one. Anyway, I've forgotten their name. There you go. I don't think I can say any more.
Okay, well, before we come to blows, I think it's time for tip of the week. But just a quick reminder, this is a Link for Growth TV show, The Marketing Gem. If you want to get in touch with us, please do via Twitter on the @TheMarketingGem. That's @TheMarketingGem. If you have ideas that you want to us to discuss, and we'll gladly listen to them and incorporate them when and where we can. Or if you've got any comments about anything we've said on the show or want some advice, then please contact one of the people appearing on today's show. Their Twitter addresses will appear at the end of the show. Okay, Catherine, what's your tip of the week?
Okay, well, not necessarily to do with branded products, but if you've supplied some branded products to a customer and they really like them, get them to write about it on your website. Have a testimonial page on your website, or if you're producing flyers, have a couple of quotes from customers as well. There is nothing better than a personal recommendation of what you do. It's an endorsement that somebody else has enjoyed the experience of working with you, and they've been pleased with the end result. You know, a referral, as we know, you know, a person-to-person referral, networking, whatever, when you've spoken to someone and they said, oh yes, so-and-so's done a really good job, it makes you want to think, well, actually, I might give them a ring then. The same goes for testimonials on a website, or as I say, a quote on a flyer. If you're not digitally minded, then it can speak volumes about what you do. It's a recommendation to others that what you're doing is working.
Yep. Jonathan, what's your tip of the week?
Okay, to reinforce Catherine's remark, it is something like 95% of sales are generated by recommendation of a friend, colleague, or someone that affects. So yes, getting a recommendation is vitally important, and make good use of it in always within your marketing plan. Now, my tip of the week is, and it goes back to the very basics, is it doesn't matter whether it's above the line, if it's sales promotion, below the line, through the line, if it's digital, if it's your product packaging, everything. Think about how everything integrates and make it look like it all comes from one place. It is very easy to be sold what seems like a whizzy add-on, but if it doesn't integrate, it's not going to work as hard as it would for you if it almost felt like it was a natural addition to the overall package. So that would be my tip of the week, is always think about how you're going to integrate any new idea into your marketing.
Okay, and Simon, what's your tip of the week?
I think a tip of the week for me is, especially with dated stuff. Now, when I say dated, specific to an event or something, can you use that product after the event? So if you're going to do an event and you've got the date on there, are you going to put June 2016 on there? Because after June 2016, technically, it's no longer relevant. So, think very carefully. If you're going to do an event, do you put a date on it, or do you not put a date on it? And just think long term. Can you use it again in the future?
Okay, that's great, thank you. My tip of the week is that actually kind of harks back to what Catherine was saying about testimonials. And the great thing is that now with the advance in technology, you can get video testimonials done. They're quite easy to make then and there. You don't need a big film crew or lights and all that sort of thing. You can actually record and edit with these things quite easily. It's worth getting some video testimonials because video will help improve your Google rankings, because Google likes video, because it's also content for YouTube, but also it makes that testimonial seem more real to the people who are looking. And about 88% of sales are made after people have, with new customers, are made after people have checked out the company's website. So that would be my tip, to boost the power of the testimonials by doing it on video wherever possible, and try to get the people involved when they're really enthusiastic straight after something's been delivered. And on that point, it's time to say cheerio. So I'd like to say thank you to Catherine and Jonathan, and to our special guest this week, Simon Cox. So on that point,
thank you to Diane as well for keeping us all in check.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, on that point now, it's time to say cheerio, and we will see you all next week with a new topic and a new subject. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.